This video is brought to you by CarCostCanada.com. To find the dealer's cost, any reduced interest rates or rebates, click on the link at any time during the video. Welcome to the desert just outside of Abu Dhabi for the launch of the e-tron from Audi, their first all-electric vehicle. They're smart. They've decided to come to market not with a car, but with a 5-passenger, 2-row SUV. And I had the opportunity today to do the entire drive with the person that's in charge of the e-tron program. And he told me they did lots of research heading into this project, which has been developed over the last 4 years. And they asked customers, do you want your electric car to look different and scream unique and electric? Or do you want it to be like a regular production model? It just happens to be electric. And they found across the world, with the exception of China, most people just want to drive what they're used to. In this case, a 5-passenger Audi utility, but it just happens to be electric. The Chinese market's slightly different. They want a little bit more recognition and pizzazz, and they're going to make some changes to this car for that market. They're going to do some changes on the outside with some graphics, and really that's about it. So Audi doesn't stray from the formula. They have great looking vehicles, and they've implemented that with the e-tron. So on size, this e-tron is just between the Audi Q5 and the Q7. They're two best sellers, and it's right in the middle there. I asked them why didn't they go to a 7-passenger 3-row, and the head of e-tron told me the bigger the vehicle gets, you have to change all of the packaging, heavier duty axles, more battery capacity, and it's diminishing returns. So this is really kind of the sweet spot for size for SUVs. Now, you do want to have some recognition for the fact you're driving an electric car. You see e-tron on the side, but also the front of the vehicle has a different grille. There's just a little bit of air getting through for when the car is doing the quick charging. There's some ventilation that takes place there. You also notice 4 bars that they use in the headlamps along the bottom, and where the exhaust pipes would be on the lower valance of the rear, they've got 4 little accent marks that they use, and that's going to be a signature of e-tron going forward and one of the differentiators. Of course, another way is noticing the aerodynamic wheel packages. I think this is a nice looking utility. Audi certainly has a design language that speaks to a lot of people. So as I mentioned, there's 2 camps, those that want to get credit for driving an electric vehicle and those that just want a good looking vehicle that happens to be electric. So we're here in Abu Dhabi. We're going to do lots of different kinds of driving today, a lot of highway driving, going up into the mountains, some off-road even in this e-tron. So let's get inside. I'll talk to you about the inside and take it for a drive. All right, let's get into all of the features of this new Audi e-tron. What is the range, all of those sorts of things. So first of all, this vehicle has a 95 kilowatt hour battery. Okay, and it's been tested on the European cycle, of course a European car, and it's rated at over 400 kilometers of range, and that works out to 247 miles. Now, that hasn't been done on the North American test, but it gives you an idea of what kind of range you're going to get with this product. Now, what kind of acceleration do you get? Because that's one of the party tricks of the Tesla, but speaking to the people here from Audi, they said, yeah, that's kind of like a one-trick kind of thing, being able to go 0 to 60 or 100 in a very short period of time. That's not how vehicles are driven in an everyday situation, and I kind of agree with that. However, it can make a run to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.7 seconds, and that's quick. And they actually benchmark this car against others in the Audi family, like the S4, for example. So this e-tron has 2 electric motors, one in the front and one in the rear. And what they've been able to do with this quattro all-wheel drive system is drive when you're under light load like I am right now, just using the rear-wheel drive, of course, for more efficiency. But then when you put your foot into it, you get the combined 489 pound-feet of torque to do very quick acceleration. So what they said to me today with driving with the person that's in charge of the whole e-tron lineup is that they developed this electronic quattro system to be the best quattro system that they've ever made. That's quite a statement. So we have had a chance to go not only through twisty roads, but off-road as well, and it does as advertised. Now, of course, because the battery is along the bottom of the vehicle, they're actually able to get a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Now, standard on every single e-tron is an air suspension, which does a couple of things. Because this car is heavy and it has big batteries, it can absorb bumps, but it also can lower the vehicle down at higher speeds for a greater aerodynamic effect. And the difference in the ride height from its highest to its lowest point is not great. It's 76 millimeters, but it makes the vehicle feel very smooth and comfortable, and it also gives you that aerodynamic effect. Now, one of the most important things with an electric vehicle is regenerative braking. Now, Audi claims that they have the best system in the market today that uses the electronic regeneration from the braking system more often than having to rely on mechanical braking. So it's an electric and a hydraulic system, but they're claiming that they're able to get 30% increase in battery just from regen. And anybody that's driven an electric vehicle knows that if you're actually quite aggressive with your regen braking, you can eke out much more range, and they claim that this is the best in the business. We drove up a mountain and down again, and it's interesting to see just how much the battery is affected. And when you're going downhill and using the brake, it's actually more of the electric motor and not the actual mechanical brake that's doing most of the work. So people are going to ask, how does it drive? And it's really hard to describe because all of the attributes you get with all electric vehicles are found here. It's very quiet. The torque is instantaneous. It's got a really modern feel to it. And what they've tried to do is instill, as I mentioned off the beginning, that Audi DNA, that quality of vehicle that you're expecting from this brand. And most of that comes from everyday driving situations, not hard driving, but just everyday situations. It drives how you would expect an Audi product to drive. And then when you add in, you layer in the beautiful interior, and this is the advantage that Audi really has, is giving buyers exactly what they expect with their other vehicles. It just makes it a very compelling package. So what you have in here is the MMI touch system that has debuted over the last few vehicles like the A7 and the A8. You get a 10.1-inch screen at the top, 8 inches on the bottom, and behind the steering wheel, the 12.3-inch virtual cockpit. And it all comes together to give you an upscale and polished feel, and that's what you get with other Audi products. And this is the strength that Audi has, is they can pull from all of their different products to make this e-tron. So you get the seats from the Audi A6, you get the MMI touch system from their other products. One cool feature that unfortunately we're not going to get in North America are the mirrorless side view mirrors. So they have cameras on the stalks on the outside, and on the inside you get a screen in the left and the right door. So it is kind of cool, and it really is neat to see, but in practice and driving this throughout the day, it's not my go-to place to look when you want to change lanes, especially when it's a quick emergency maneuver. Now, people that are with us today say, give it some time, drive the car for a few days, and it will become second nature. I can see that, but in instantaneous emergency maneuvers, you want to be able to look at that mirror and change lanes quickly. That is something that I wouldn't opt for. If this was an option, I would just get the regular mirrors. And they said that one of the reasons they did it is, first, it looks cool, and second, it reduces a lot of wind noise. A lot of the noise you hear in the cabin from the wind is actually created by the side view mirrors, and this car is very, very quiet with the absence of those. So I can see one of the reasons why you'd want that. Now, credit where credit is due, Tesla has been able to achieve something that a lot of other brands have not been able to do. You like it? The guy likes it. One of the things Tesla's been able to do that others have not is create an aspirational brand. Electric cars are sexy and people will spend a lot of money for them. And a big part of that is that they have the supercharging network where you can drive across North America and charge your vehicle. Well, Audi and the Volkswagen Group have done the same thing, or they're going to implement the same thing. It's called Electrify America, and in Canada it's going to be called Electrify Canada. A manual Land Cruiser. Cool. How guys driving a manual Land Cruiser. So what you have is a network of electric charging stations that's going to be rolled out across North America. I believe it's going to be 2,000 units by 2020, so that's quite a large infrastructure of electric charging. Speaking of charging, you have the 150 kilowatt fast charging, able to get 80% of the battery charged in 30 minutes, which is on par with what Tesla is capable of doing. So what do you think about Audi's approach to this vehicle? They've decided to give you what you expect from Audi, a certain look on the outside, a high level of finish on the inside. It looks like a regular Audi. It has the same characteristics of a regular Audi. It has over 400 kilometers of range. Do you think that's on the money? Do you think that's a vehicle that's going to get people excited? They already have about 20,000 pre-orders for this vehicle worldwide, and they say they're going to be able to make demand. If there's more people want them, they're going to be able to make more of them. So what do you think? Is this a vehicle that would get you interested in an electric car? If you look at other Audi models, you know that they come out with S and RS versions of their cars, and it would be exciting to see even faster and more powerful versions of this e-tron. Upcoming models in the e-tron line will be a Sportback version of this model, and they've already shown the GT concept, which will turn into a production vehicle, also called e-tron, that's based on the Porsche Taycan platform. All exciting stuff in the not-too-distant future from Audi. The one thing about electric cars is the barrier to entry is quite low. You need batteries, you need electric motors, and then you need software to make it all work. Of course, lots of capital to get it to happen, but the thing is, it's the way that it's tuned and the way that it's developed is the character that each brand is able to distill. And so what the goal was with this car is that yes, it's electric, but it still has to have all of the Audi points that people are accustomed to. So if you have an existing Audi car, you get into this one and it drives as you would expect. So the one advantage Audi has certainly is in design. It's a great looking SUV, and the interior fit and finishing components are the same as the rest of the line. The seats are from an A6. The dashboard is out of an A8. They've been able to use all of the tools in their toolbox to create what you see here today. Here it is. The price in the Canadian market is $90,000, and the US price is already being announced, but when you factor in the currency exchange for the Canadian market compared to the US, this vehicle in Canada is actually just a little bit cheaper. And when is it coming? It is coming the second quarter of next year as a 2019 model. So the first full electric car from Audi, e-tron, here it is, and I gotta say they did one hell of a job. If you'd like to get the dealer's cost for your next new vehicle, any reduced interest rates or rebates, click on the Car Cost Canada link in the description below.